Donkey Kong Bananza is such a spectacular game, from the gameplay and level design, to the challenges thrown at you and the tunes being blasted while doing so. This game is a love letter to all things Donkey Kong, and an amazing game all around. So much so that I ended up 100%ing the game only 10 days after release, and I'm here to review the game and walk you through my experiences with it. So let's dig in. This video will obviously contain spoilers for Donkey Kong Bananza. I will save talking about the finale of the game until the end of this video, so from now until then I will be talking about minor spoilers regarding characters and layers that will be found within the game. The game begins by introducing us to the newly designed Donkey Kong, which throughout the course of the game really grew on me. He is on an island where he and a bunch of other monkeys are mining for banana-shaped gems. Then, disaster strikes when an evil corporation of Kongs pushes the island underground, and from there, the game truly begins. You start off exploring the town, and then you are pointed in the direction of a mysterious rock that fell from the sky. This odd rock becomes your companion, and then your objective is simple: head to the planet's core. Progressing through the first real layer, you meet a Kong Elder who asks you to perform, and he will give you a Bananza transformation. It is through this that it is revealed that Oddrock is actually Pauline. You then get your Kong Bananza and can complete the layer. From there, the game follows a similar path to Mario Odyssey, going layer by layer, saving the inhabitants from evildoers. The layers in this game are beautifully designed, especially the Forest layer, the Feast layer, and Resort layer, just to name a few. In some layers, you will unlock more Bananza transformations, such as Zebra and Ostrich, which were shown in the Direct before the game came out. And then there are more that I'm going to talk about right now, so if you don't want spoilers, leave now. The Elephant and Snake Bananzas were a welcome surprise, and it really felt like their respective layers were perfectly tailored to the use of these new Bananza forms. I really enjoyed exploring all of these layers, so much so that by the time I beat the game, I was mostly completed each layer, but in some layers I was missing around 20 bananas, so the process of 100%ing wasn't too bad. And then I found out there were post-game bananas just like Odyssey's post-game Moonrock Moons. So then some layers that I had almost completed went all the way up to missing 40 Banandium gems. As with most Donkey Kong games, the story isn't that much of a focus, but the conclusion to this game is genuinely amazing, and I cannot wait to talk about it at the end of the video. Oh my goodness, this gameplay was addicting. It had a similar charm to Mario Odyssey, but with a uniquely Donkey Kong twist to it. The fact that the button's position on the controller corresponds to what direction you will punch in was a fantastic decision. Although, at the start of the game, I'll admit, it was hard to wrap my head around, but it ended up becoming second nature the more I played. The fact that I was able to just smash through the majority of the layer just felt awesome to do, and it allowed me to just stumble across hidden areas and Banandium gems or fossils that I would not have found otherwise. Traversing the layers with the use of the Bananza transformations felt really cool to do, dashing around with the Zebra, gliding off of peaks with the Ostrich, and smashing through everything with the Kong Bananza, and it was really cool that you could switch between them on the fly. Some sections of the game had that signature Donkey Kong difficulty. Most of those sections were in the post-game though. I wish that through the main story there was some more challenging platforming, because when I look back on older DK games, I think one of the main things that separates them from Mario platformers is they are usually harder, and I was hoping this would be similar. Now, don't get me wrong, the hard sections in the postgame were genuinely hard, and quite unforgiving in some cases. I just wish there was a higher difficulty through the whole of the game, and not just in the postgame. This is the section where I will get into very heavy spoilers for the conclusion of the game, and the post-game as well. This is your last chance to leave before spoilers. Are you gone? King K. Rool is back! After 18 long years, not counting Smash Ultimate, the big scaly boy is back, and I couldn't be happier about it. When you get down to the seemingly final layer and have your final fight with Void Kong, the Banandium root is right there for the taking. But as soon as I seen what was supposedly the root, I knew it was King K. Rool, because of his signature golden belly and belly button. It was just too perfect for it not to be him. Not to mention that the whole game we were seeing Crocoids, which are clearly Kremling skeletons. As Void Kong approaches the Banandium root, he is suddenly smacked away, and we are reintroduced to King K. Rool. And at this point I was thinking, hold on, this game is peak. And if King K. Rool being back wasn't enough, in order to get to the final boss, you have to make your way through a gauntlet of the Kremling crew, and it was just awesome finally seeing these classic enemies being brought back. The fight with K. Rool is awesome. Pretty challenging at first, but using Elephant Bananza, it wasn't too difficult. I'd say the perfect amount of challenge for a final boss. Once K. Rool is defeated, DK and Pauline make their wishes to the real Banandium root, and they head to the surface on a banana drill, and the game is over. But then... The fight ain't over yet. I love the homage to the original Donkey Kong Country game's ending, and the revamped Gangplank Galleon was so hype for me. So then, K. Rool gets knocked away from the banana drill, and then all of a sudden, our duo emerges to the surface. In New Donk City! What? My jaw dropped when this happened. It was so awesome to see a different version of New Donk City. Although, I am not sure when this takes place, because it looks totally different than it does in Odyssey, but it doesn't make sense for it to look like this before Odyssey, and also there are already Donkey Kong references in the city before our Donkey Kong had ever been to the surface, so it brings up a lot of lore questions. And just when it seems that our heroes might be safe, K. Rool goes all King Kong, climbing the tallest building in the city, and then starts destroying the city and changing it into a city themed around him. Not to mention potentially killing everyone, because the city is being flooded by molten Banandium while you are going through the Bananza form gauntlet to get to K. Rool and finish this off once and for all. Once you have successfully escaped the rising Banandium rush, you land in a boxing ring, just like the finale of DK64, to finish off K. Rool. This fight was awesome. It was basically the same as the first K. Rool fight, just more difficult because K. Rool uses the Banandium root to become the King of Rot, which is an epic design, by the way. This is what a final fight should be. DK finally finishes off K. Rool by punching him into the atmosphere, and then there's a heartfelt goodbye between DK and Pauline, because they both want to live out their wishes, but DK would have to go home, and Pauline wants to stay in New Donk City. Then the credits roll with the beautiful Breaking Through song playing, and images of your adventure popping up. Genuinely, this credit sequence made me a little bit teary, although that might be because I ended up finishing the game at 2 AM after I'd been playing for about 3.5 hours, so that might play a part in that reaction. Once the credits finish, we see an image of Pauline performing in New Donk City, and a caption that says, "The adventure continues." The post-game of Donkey Kong Bananza is very similar to the post-game in Mario Odyssey, in that each layer gets a whole new load of Banandium gems for you to find, which, honestly, because I was so close to getting every single one of them beforehand, had me looking something like this. But once I got past that initial reaction, I was actually quite happy, because that meant I got to spend more time exploring these different layers. In addition to more gems, there's a new challenge from each of the elders called Bananza Rehearsals, and let me tell you, these were the things that almost made me not 100% the game, specifically the zebra one. During the zebra rehearsal, there are bonus Banandium gems that you get by being fast, because why not? The Zebra Bananza's whole thing is speed. I was stuck trying to beat these sections in time to get the bonus banana for quite a while, and it was very frustrating, but eventually I was good enough to finally get them all. Each of the rehearsals is challenging in their own right, other than the Kong Bananza because it is just about beating up enemies, and that can only be so difficult. Once you complete each rehearsal, you unlock the Great Harmonial's Windpipe, and oh man, if you thought the rehearsals were challenging, you ain't seen nothing yet. This is a gauntlet of platforming challenges that utilize all of the Bananza forms that you've learned throughout the game. This is much like the Darker Side of the Moon from Mario Odyssey, in that there are no checkpoints. If you die, you have to start all over again. I was stuck on just the first part of the gauntlet with the ostrich for who knows how long, and that was probably one of the easier parts of this gauntlet. When you are nearing the end, we get some classic 2D gameplay, doing some water parkour with the Zebra Bananza as flaming barrels from the original Donkey Kong are falling down and messing up your jumps. And then finally, you run by all of the elders, and Pauline finally finds the song in her heart that she has been searching for. And then the post-game is truly complete. But we're not quite at 100% yet. Once I finished the Great Harmonial's Windpipe, I was still missing a few Banandium gems and many fossils. So I went layer by layer, either stumbling across them or buying maps to whistle my way to find every last one of each. After I had every fossil collected, I bought every outfit, which was key in completing the game because you need specific articles of clothing to get Banandium gems from Fractones that want to see different types of fashion. And also, in purchasing each outfit, I registered every fossil to the museum in the Groove layer, and it is pretty cool to look at, mostly because all of the fossil designs are references to previous Donkey Kong titles. And then came the most annoying part of this process. Not difficult, just boring and annoying. Once in the post-game, Grumpy Kong and Poppy Kong are good guys now, and Grumpy Kong offers his services to you in exchange for gold. At first, the prices aren't great, but not too terrible. And each of these projects unlocks new challenge gauntlets for you to go through. One is a series of mini battle rooms on a time limit with enemies you have fought throughout the game, and the other is a boss rush with slight differences that make each battle more difficult than when you fought them in the story. Really, the only challenging thing about each of these gauntlets is the fact that if you die, there are no checkpoints and you have to do it all over again. So it can become tedious to go through every previous challenge if you are stuck on one specific one. The good thing about these gauntlets is it provides a very easy and reliable way to farm music discs, especially with Pauline's Diva outfit. This was the strategy I used in order to obtain all of the discs that I hadn't already collected through the course of the game. And then, after both of these projects are complete, Grumpy Kong asks for 120,000 gold. That is a ridiculous amount of gold. Even with Pauline's outfit that doubles all gold you collect, and the Golden Bananza skills you unlock from completing the rehearsals, it still takes quite a while to finally reach that number. But once you pay him, you get access to the last two Banandium gems. One in Baboom Town, and then at the very top of Baboom Town, Grumpy Kong makes a gigantic golden statue of Donkey Kong, and a single Banandium gem sticks out the top of his head. And at long last, the game has been completed. 100%ing this game ended up taking me a total of 45 hours, which, considering the amount of collectibles in this game, is actually not too bad. I am so glad that this game lived up to the hype I had for it. I enjoyed this game so much that I didn't want it to end, which really is the main reason I went for 100%. I hope Nintendo keeps making great games like this throughout the lifespan of the Switch 2. This is a much larger video than I usually make, and also more of a review type video, which I also don't usually do. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and if you did, you can let me know by leaving a like on this video and subscribing if you aren't already, as it helps the channel out a ton, and also leave a comment if you want to see more of these types of videos in the future. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and good gaming to you all.